Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show with Dr. Pat Basile. In the next hour, Dr. Pat showcases some of the world's most influential people in the fields of health, wellness, and human potential. Get ready to live life full out. Here's your host, Dr. Pat Basile.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I want to welcome you to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. You know, what is it about each of us that is willing to look at what fits for us, what resonates for us, what shows up for us, what calls to us, all of that? What part of us is willing to do that? And then what part of us doesn't want to do that? And the question then becomes, you know, when you're sitting here and you're thinking about your life and you're thinking, what do I do now? What do I do now? If you're me, you've gone through several midlife adjustments. And I went through a midlife adjustment when I was 17. But what do you do? And so today I have a very special guest that's going to talk about this. Whether you resonate with the number 10 or you resonate with the number 11 or you don't resonate with anything at all, how are you going to pay attention to what's really going on inside of you? How are you going to pay attention to those things that are saying to you, ooh, girlfriend, you know what, that job, that is just choking the life out of you. What do you really want to do? So today I want to introduce you to somebody that knows a lot about this. Well, how does she know about it? Well, she's lived it. And so when you live your life from that place of challenging yourself to be rigorously honest with yourself, then you are going to get a life perspective that's going to catapult you, if you say yes, going to catapult you to the life that you desire. Today, we get to chat with and talk about the real brass ring, secrets of a midlife reboot with author and award-winning branding consultant. And I can't wait to find out what branding means now in this decade. Dianne Bischoff James joining me here today. Here's the deal. When you are someone that has become an expert in what you do, as she is, and has developed a successful mega business, consulting experience with Fortune 500 corporations, specialists in determining a brand's unique market space, what then? What do you want to do about that? What do you do about your life? How do you say to yourself, am I doing the things that really inspire me? What is it about my life that I love? What is it about my life that I should change? But here we go as she embarked on this journey to find her heart and reignite childhood passions. All of us. Someone said to me, really, Pat, childhood passion? Aren't you the one that stuttered when you was a kid? And I said, yeah, when I was a kid, I did stutter. But why is talk radio a passion? Well, maybe we'll explore that today or maybe not. But this show is about my guest, the real brass ring, change your life course now. I love this. Change your life course now. I can't. I'm going to have a blast. Dianne, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Pat. It's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, change your life course now. This is the key in the sentence, believe it or not, for me, is the word now. Now, why is that important? Well, I think we ponder over and over and over again. What do I love? What don't I love? What should I do? You know, let's talk for a minute about you. Given where you are now, fabulous book, doing what you love. Tell me about some of the challenges and obstacles that you had to overcome to actually bring you to this moment like right now.
Well, I would say that I found myself in the middle years, late 30s, and I felt like I was programmed. I did everything they told me to do. So in essence, I was a bit of a prisoner of promise. I went after the American dream. You know, I'm thinking, not only can I, but I will live up and you know, keep up with the Kardashians. And so I went after everything I had been instructed to do. I got the big education. I had the mini mansion across from the lake. I had family, kids, activities, worked till I dropped, barely slept, and I did what they told me to do. I had been instructed as a kid that we're supposed to be successful and collect all kinds of money and get big flat screen TVs and the latest gadgets and make sure you have the best nail polish on and the cutest shoes. But when I hit the middle years, I looked at myself and I was almost 40 and I was absolutely and completely miserable. So that little promise and falling for the dream just absolutely didn't make me happy. So I had a psychic encounter. I was outed by a psychic, and that's kind of how I had my first wake-up call.
Oh, don't you love our psychics? I'm just saying. I mean, you heard me talk a little bit about the whole 10-11 thing, because I'm trying to fit into a box. And of course, we are. I mean, it is our 10th year anniversary. So I'm trying to fit into this box about the 10. And everything about me is about the 11. Now, most people would think, oh, man, Pat, get over yourself. But it's something really interesting about the way that we sense our lives. So tell me about this psychic outing, because I had a few of those live on air. So I'm just curious about what did the psychic say to you? Because I know what they've said to me, and I never, at first you don't believe them, right? Then all of a sudden, a year later, the thing shows up. So tell me about yours.
Well, I was very fortunate. For some reason, I had a couple friends that said, "Oh, you have to see this woman. Her name is Sonia Choquette." I didn't realize at the time she's like world class. I mean, she's a world class psychic, and I gave myself a birthday present. I said I'm going to go see her before my birthday. I was almost 38 years old, and I expected her to tell me how great I was doing and how I was fabulous and how everything I created was perfect and I was on track and to keep going. But instead, for 1 hour, she completely undressed me. I sat there in shock. I felt my mouth go dry and my eyes were sucking back in my head. She told me I was the unlit Christmas tree. Everything I had come to do, I was missing. I'd missed the entire path. And if I didn't hurry up and grab that brass ring, it was going to go by and it was going to be too late. So I walked out of her office after an hour session, and I made my way to the car. It was February. It was Chicago. It was like probably 20 below, like it was last week. And I sat there, and I literally cried for 30 minutes. I had to go to a business meeting, but I couldn't control myself. My emotions were just pouring. And I realized that everything I had done was wrong. So I didn't have just a few things to modify. I had a complete midlife overhaul. And quite frankly, I was devastated, absolutely devastated.
I have to tell you, I love Sonia. One of the first years of radio, one of the first years. How many years of first years do you have? Well, I actually had two on two different networks back in 2003. She was one of the first people that said yes. Now, can you imagine you're a brand new radio on an internet station back in 2003? Nobody's real internet, really? 2003. You just got to go back for a little bit to remember what that was like. But Sonia said, yes, I'd love to be on your show. And it's so interesting about that, isn't it? She does. I love what you said. She literally does undress you in a way that you've never had done before. What was it you walked away with? Did you walk away with excitement? Did you walk away with fear? What was your feeling? Or did you just go to the meeting like I used to do?
When she started, I think I wanted to jump across the table and start choking her because this, kind of a sweet, soft-spoken woman who reminds me of a pixie. She's so adorable and cute. And the things that she was saying were horribly devastating. She told me that basically I was in a fraternal relationship, that my heart had never resonated with another person, whether it be man, woman, or child, that I had this empty heart, and that my job was to find my heart this lifetime, and that my path was completely erroneous. And so I was also depressed, and she nailed me on my depression. I was huge. I was pretty much a size 18 at the time. I was the size of a small prize, a sumo wrestler, and I was physically unfit. I felt terrible, and she told me that I was a helicopter mom. I was just hovering over my kids and overdoing everything to the point where nothing was successful. She also said, she goes, you're an author, and you're a healer, and you're a teacher, and you're not doing any of that. And she goes, and by the way, you could be a very successful actor because you were always supposed to pursue your creative arts, and you never have. And so pretty much I got a 0 on the scale of success. On metaphysical success, I was hitting the bottom slopes. So I had a really big mountain to climb, and I had honestly no idea where to go from that. So I think I went into overwhelm. I think when too many things are wrong or too many things have just piled up, I froze. I froze at first. I got home and I thought, okay, how do you fix a whole life? And by the way, I have to feed these people. You know, I've got mouths to feed. I have a house to take care of. I have a mansion. I've got to keep this thing up. But I think, as we can see, even with the Kardashians, it doesn't necessarily, having those mansions doesn't necessarily make you a happy person.
No,
so,
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. We've learned a lot about that, haven't we? That, you know, the bling and the ring, you know, those are the things that all of us look at. And we think we have it all. You know, well, who is it? You know, that song by Adele, When You Think You Have It All. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the real brass ring. And what is this idea that we have in our lives about metaphysics? You know, what have we learned that Dianne's going to talk with us about, especially about that pragmatic metaphysics? What is it? Are we now in beyond the world of woo-woo? What is it that we're sensing about our lives? And how can we take a look and a feel for that inner barometer that's going to direct us to the place we ultimately want to go, our joy? Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with the Dr. Pat Show.
Are you ready to move past limiting beliefs and unconscious obstacles that are holding you back from financial prosperity? Do you want to be free from debt and that feeling of being disempowered? Mary Jane Allen is a financial healer and joy creation specialist who uses her unique set of tools included in her financial healing process to help her clients move past those beliefs and fears. For more information and to contact Mary Jane, visit her website, manifestyourlifedream.com, and begin your financial healing process today. Are you ready to move past limiting beliefs and unconscious obstacles that are holding you back from financial prosperity? Do you want to be free from debt and that feeling of being disempowered? Mary Jane Allen is a financial healer and joy creation specialist who uses her unique set of tools included in her financial healing process to help her clients move past those beliefs and fears. For more information and to contact Mary Jane, visit her website, manifestyourlifedream.com, and begin your financial healing process today.
Are you feeling stuck? Do you want to be free from fears and doubts and finally feel good about yourself, but you just don't know how to get there? Dr. Schaub's Accelerated Breakthrough Program provides you with the tools and solutions to go beyond your limitations and achieve self-empowered confidence. Call for your free phone consultation at 866-903-MIND. Visit cellularwisdom.com. That's cellularwisdom.com.
Hey, do you like free stuff? The Dr. Pat Show has an amazing giveaway program doing weekly giveaways on Facebook and Twitter. Go to facebook.com/The Dr. Pat Show and click the like button. Then go to twitter.com/The Dr. Pat Show and click the follow button. Then you can play along and enter to win some amazing prizes. Again, that's facebook.com/The Dr. Pat Show and twitter.com/The Dr. Pat Show.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show with Dr. Pat Basile. If you have a question or comment, please call us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. Now, back to the program. Here's Dr. Pat Basile.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the show. You know, this is really kind of cool. I want to make sure everybody out there, please check this out. If you go to liveyoureverything.com, liveyoureverything.com, you're going to find a lot of information about Dianne. And, this is I love this. My name is Dianne, and I'm a midlife reinventionist. Hallelujah for that. Because if you don't want to go through the thing that I went through, not even realizing that I had multiple midlife changes, because right now, I don't know about all of you out there listening to the show, but many of you have listened to this show for 10 years. Raise your hand if you think transformation should take 10 years. Okay, great. Nobody raised their hand. That's because we don't believe that much anymore. Dianne, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
A lot of things we're going to talk about, but let's talk about this idea that you have so pointed out there on your website, Pragmatic Metaphysics. And the reason I want to talk about that in the context of your book is that we've gone through changes. I got to interview Betsy Chasse yesterday, and oh my gosh, she's fired up. I had to say to her, are you the same woman that did the What the Bleep movie? She says, I am, but I'm changed. And so here we are, people that have gone through these past 10 years, women, I'm just going to say women because this is actually what's going on. And they started out with an idea about how this should all work. But boy, talk to someone like you, talk to her, and what you have now is I am really not going to wait that long for much. So tell us a little bit about what you've discovered along the way to your true life.
Well, what I consider myself to be is I sit at the intersection of both hippie and yuppie. I have the business background, and I have, a master's from Northwestern, but I also have another entire side of me that I have been the eternal student of metaphysics. So what I felt like would be a unique opportunity would be for me to put all that together. I look at it kind of as the 4 quadrants of empowering yourself. The mental and the physical side, that was always the part that I understood. That was the easy to understand, will your way through something. Did you or did you not take action towards something? But then there was the entire other smoky side for a long time, the metaphysical side, the emotional side, the spiritual side. And to be quite honest with you, I was pretty shut down on the emotional side. In fact, I was a professional stuffer. I stuffed everything. Everything that didn't feel good I thought was probably my fault, or I wasn't open to it, or I wasn't participating. So I would just stuff it down inside, stuff it emotionally, stuff my face with food, stuff anything that I could. And then on the spiritual side, I knew that there was this beautiful spiritual light, sense of essence, but I hadn't really understood it at a cellular level. So what I tried to do now is to take those 4 quadrants, the best of East meets West, and put them together. So as far as the website goes, liveyoureverything.com, I look at it as a sanctuary for midlife transformation. I'm trying to put together resources, guides, tools, tricks, techniques, anything that helps activate change. But it has to really work, because I'm not so much into bubbles and unicorns and all the stuff that you can't put your finger on. I like the stuff that works. So whether it be an essential oil, or whether it be a happy lamp, or if it's the John of God light crystals, if those things work, I want to know about it, because I'm a human guinea pig. And so I really set out on a quest to test products, test different practices, and also test healers and energy healers, and any modality that's out there. I want to run it through the paces with me, and if it works for me, I want to share it with other people, because I just like to focus on things that really work and drive change. That's where I sit.
And I want to talk with you about a couple of different things, because I love the way you've laid this book out, and what this has meant for you. When somebody says to you, Dianne, right? Okay, you want to do this? This is what you got to do. How about writing that book? Now, you're a branding expert. I love that you're a branding expert. I need to go to you for some advice here. But you're a branding expert, right? So here they say, you got to write a book. Did you say, yippee skippy, I'm going to write a book? Or did the book get born sort of on its own energy? Because I've come across a couple of things with myself. I can only talk about me, right? I wake up some days and I know I'm excited now about writing the book. For 10 years, people have said to me, you got to write the book. I've written 4 books. They're in a shelf in the other room. But I finally came to, I got to write about the journey. homeless at 17, mother died at 7. But I've never been able to talk about that. What was it about your journey where you said, I got to put this thing in writing?
Well, my journey was truly a labor of love. I have 3 kids. This was the hardest birthing experience of my entire life. I sat down 3 times to write a book. I just felt like, okay, Sonia said I have to write a book. So I started writing a book about marketing and about branding. And every time I put my fingers on the computer, something else came out. It was more about, well, let me first write about what I've gone through, write about this, need to transform every aspect of my life. And it was organically born. I felt as if someone plugged me into my computer, and every time I sat down, it was about this very emotional, very raw, in many cases sad, in many cases scary, in many cases incredibly difficult parts of going through life. And it just poured out. And I kind of will tell you, I was the reluctant participant. This took me a lot of years, and it took me probably almost 10 years to complete. And once I actually stopped analyzing it and just allowed it to flow, which isn't something I'm necessarily good at. It's something I'm working on. It's a practice I'm working on, allowing the universe to support me and to help guide me. Once I let it flow, I kept reading little pieces to people, and their eyes were popping open. They're like, "Oh my God, that is so honest. That is so touching. That is so real." That I kind of knew I was onto something. So I just had to let it flow, and I think it literally flowed from source and from gut.
Yeah.
It didn't flow from the mind, because the mind would never have put this down. In fact, I was told I of course went down the hard road. I went trying to get an agent, and I was told every time, "Oh, you did it wrong. You should have done the how-to book. If it was a how-to book, we would pick you up because, you're a marketing expert." But I did I was told I did everything wrong, Pat. I mean, it was terrible. And so I said, well, you know what? This is my journey, and it just felt like this was more honest and real. So I'm kind of sorry, but I did the half memoir, half how-to, and they said, you know what? We're going to pass. We're going to pass on you. Yeah. Of course, because I didn't do it the right way. And I thought, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's real, and it's authentic, and it's from the heart, and that's why I needed to put it down. So I figured at least I'll start here and kind of baby step it and see what happens. And here we are.
Well, I love that you did that, because, we get these things over and over and over again where we're called to do something. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is this idea of reinvention. This is so important right now for us. And let's just say for women. I really can't speak for men all that much, but here we go. We're talking about reinventing, rebooting, restarting. How does that energy feel for you? And what if you had one thing to say to people, one tip about that, one soundbite, what would that be?
The soundbite is, it feels awesome to actually do what you love. There is such a transformation from a cellular level to know that every day I get to spend some time writing, or some time acting, or speaking, or being involved in the creative arts. Whenever I step on a stage, my energy raises, my head goes up, my posture changes, because it feels amazing to me to do 1 minute of something I love versus living 38 years of everything that felt inauthentic and really bad and goopy on the inside. So, how's that? A very long soundbite.
That's really good. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, though, what I'd love to talk with you about, if this is going to work. There's a chapter in your book, and for those of you that are just tuning in, Dianne Bischoff James joining me here today, The Real Brass Ring, Change Your Life Course Now. I'd love to talk about Deconstruction Central. What does that mean? It is a great term. And as I read the chapter, what does all of that mean? And is it a phase of something we have to go through regardless of whether it's midlife, early life, later life, eating a hamburger and wanting to go vegan, whatever that kind of change is? What is deconstruction all about? Stay tuned. You're listening to The Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. For more information about us, go to thedrpatshow.com or go to transformationtalkradio.com. Deconstruction. How does that feel to you when you say that word? Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the show.
Now, back to the program. Here's Dr. Pat Basile.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. We are so excited. We will be launching our new website design, more interaction for all of you. Transformation Talk Radio and the Dr. Pat Show both. Also, Called to Shine is also been launched. And you can take a look at these in preliminary form. Living an epic life is your birthright. And so part of this is when we say yes to who we really are and who we want to become, it takes on an energy. But what is it that we can learn from my very special guest today? And if you haven't gotten the book, The Brass Ring, Change Your Life Course Now, Dianne Bischoff James, you got to get it. Go to Amazon, go to the website that I mentioned before, and I'm going to mention it again, liveyoureverything.com. Take a look at that. So much information on there, coaching, quotes, inspiration, and much more. And don't forget the TV section so you could get up close and personal with my guest today. Dianne, look, I read the book. I read everybody's book, by the way. And and I get to this chapter, right? Deconstruction Central. And I thought, let's take a look at that. And so I started to think about this, and I almost like I had a little hot flash. Because as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, oh, yes, I did have to go through that. You went through that. Tell folks what this means. That term in itself resonates with people. It has a certain feeling to it. Everybody's going to put their own meaning. But what was it you discovered about it, especially because it came after you talk about truth will set you free?
Absolutely. Well, Deconstruction Central for me was the process of going through, I'm going to call life review. Life review while we're here still on Earth. And I took a look at everything. I figured I have, if I have let's say there's 7,000 days left of this active body and active mind before I really just want to kind of chill out. What am I going to do with that time? If you really only had X number of days left to accomplish what you wanted to do, what would you do? And I had this vision. I was literally in, a nursing home, and I'm speaking to this young orderly, and the person says, so Miss Bischoff James, what did you do with your life? And I wanted to be able to answer that question with complete, earnest fulfillment. And so I wanted to be able to say, I did this and I did that, and I traveled and I wrote and I acted and I performed and I love my kids. And I wanted to be able to be 100% feeling fabulous about my answer. So Deconstruction Central for me started there. And I put myself on a life review. I took a look at these key questions. Before I die, what are the things I want to accomplish? And then when I grow up, what were some of the things I thought of very, very young? What were the elements that were pulling at my heartstrings very early on? I really believe most of our messages come when we're quite young, and we know exactly what will make us happy. But we've been trained by society not to listen to that, not to listen to our emotions, not to go with our gut, not to look towards spirit. And so I had to reconstruct all of that, put the pieces back together, and I put myself on a full potential yardstick. And I said, where are you? And the truth is I was way down at the bottom. I was like at the first inch, and I had to kind of climb all the way up to the top towards, 36 inches. And I evaluated everything. I evaluated my thinking. I was depressed. I was on Prozac, and I decided this isn't who I am. I'm not a person who has to drug myself to think well, to feel good. So I quit. I just one day said, this is crazy. I'm going to fix my stinking thinking. And I went back and I started using all metaphysical techniques. I started practicing only positive thoughts. I used affirmations. I went to a place called Hoffman Institute, which is the best decision I've made in my entire adult life, because in 1 week they get rid of, I think you call it the sludge, and the
Yeah.
crust.
Yes. Yes.
Get rid of the sludge and the crust with you for 7 days. No television, no TV, no internet, no smartphones. You work on you. So I had to go to I had to go all the way down. I was walking around with a steamer trunk full of nastiness and bad messages and bad programming and vicious cycles and patterns. And I had to undo all that. So a lot of my reconstruction came from fixing the core. So for me in particular, some people maybe have a little suitcase, little carry-on. I had a steamer trunk. So I had to go back in and fix the reason I wanted to cry all the time. And that was about self-love and being accepted for who I was. And I did that. And HoffmanInstitute.org, I believe, is the website. Best decision I ever made. It's just an investment in yourself so you can restart. So once I fixed the inside, I then looked at the body and I just said, okay, I don't think being 190 pounds for a 5'6" woman is a good plan. Just not a good idea. I said, I know that there's this really cool body in there, and I just want to see who she is. So I became more active, and I somehow, after Hoffman, my food addiction actually disappeared, and I was no longer compelled to eat 24/7. And I used to search out food 24 hours a day. I was thinking about what my next morsel would be that I would put in my mouth. So I was able to fix the food addiction, and then once I was able to get more fit, I had to be more active, and I had to fix some of my body issues, so I went to yoga, and each one of these were just small steps. I then looked at my career, and I decided that maybe I could parallel process being a marketing consultant and an actor, even though I had no background I had a small background, but it had been years, and so I decided to pound the pavement of the acting show here in Chicago and to see if I could make some inroads, and I was very fortunate. I found tremendous people who helped me. I studied. I did all my work. I trained, and I was able to make my way into being an actor, and that was a fabulous, fabulous step forward. And then I was able to look at my love life, and the truth is that it just wasn't resonating correctly for my life. And I didn't know how long I could keep that relationship going, but it was fraternal for many years. And so I was had to fix being fat, depressed, and in a loveless relationship. And I was able to do that. It was hard on the family, but I learned a very important lesson from Hoffman. What I learned is that you're modeling for your children. So I knew that the change was important, because how could they have loving, successful relationships when they got older if they never saw one? So I took that very much to heart, and so I decided to make the change, did get divorced, entered the single life and the dating scene again in midlife, and went through all the craziness of that and the roller coaster of that. Fun, but there's a lot of challenges with midlife dating, but got through all that and found a fabulous relationship, and then started pursuing my true heart's desire, which is to speak from the heart as an author and a teacher and a healer, and that's the path that I'm on right now. So my deconstruction was in all areas: career, family, creative pursuits, body, spirit, heart, and mind. So I had to do the full reboot.
But don't you think, though, this is really a cool topic to talk about? I completely agree with you. I had to do the full reboot. I'm still in that what's the zone? I'm still in that no zone when it comes to midlife dating. Is that what you called it? That's a whole different area. I mean, if you want to explore the crust in your life, girlfriend, I mean, let's just talk about that. That alone would be enough to, put you in another dimension, especially now how times have changed. But here's what I want to ask you about. Hidden in everything you said is a very powerful message about manifestation. What have you learned about manifestation that perhaps may be different than what we've heard in the past 10 years?
Well, I have a process that I am putting together for my second book, and it's a 6-step process on how to achieve effortlessly anything that you want. And I found that there's a successful formula for almost anything. And it involves some key points: your energy, your effort, your enthusiasm, some of your natural talents, and then the other side of spirit, which you allow the fulfillment of all that. And in this formula, I've been able to use it with individuals that I'm able to counsel and help. I use it with friends. I use it with family. I use it with my kids. And when things are not manifesting the way people prefer that they go, I always put them on the formula. I say, let's take a look at what's happening. What are you doing in this area? What are you doing in this area? Let's evaluate yourself. This is the part that's the Western side. Let's really take a look and evaluate it. What number are you going to give yourself? And I have everyone put themselves on scales in these different areas. And they'll say, okay, honestly, my energy, it's a 2. I'll say, okay, there you go. But my effort, last month was an 8. Okay, there you go. And then how about your spiritual? How do you feel about this on the inside? How do you resonate with this? Oh, well,
right.
That's a 10. But you didn't put the energy towards it. So we evaluate it on the Western side. We look at it on the Eastern side. And this formula I have found to be enormously successful on manifesting. And it's going to be the whole topic of the second book.
Well, I love it because what you've touched upon is something that really didn't get talked about much when The Secret came out, and that is the whole emotional side. This is really, when you listen to some of the questions that I'm asking about how things felt for you, how they resonated with you. Now, I didn't pop out like that. That's something I had to learn. Somewhere along the line in this 10-year journey of coming, somebody said to me, New Age. I thought they were talking about furniture. So, what a difference 10 years makes. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about truth-telling. It's something that is showing up for me now. Not that it hasn't, but I'm the person that studied the consequences of breaking promises for 10 years. So what is it about truth now that is taking on a different meaning in our pop culture and in our world? What do we actually believe in? Do we believe in what we hear? Do we believe in what we see? How do we get to that heart-centered place of inner truth and beauty? We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show with Dr. Pat Basile. If you have a question or comment, please call us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. Now, back to the program. Here's Dr. Pat Basile.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Great to have you here. For more information about us, like I said before, go ahead and go to thedrpatshow.com. For more information about my special guest today, go to liveyoureverything.com. Check it out. Lots there. Get a copy of the book. The book, if you haven't heard earlier on in the show, is called The Real Brass Ring. Change Your Life Course Now. Dianne Bischoff James joining me here today. Hey, Dianne, thank you so much for this. It's really cool to have you here.
Thank you.
Wow. Truth, deception, pop culture. Where would you like to start? Buy this. Use this. Yeah. Where do we begin this conversation? Well, I think we should start about the things we tell ourselves. Because before you spend $300 on a product that you think is going to get rid of all your wrinkles, what is that message we're giving ourselves? Because you talk about this in the book as well.
I call it coming clean. The concept that I use and I educate anyone who will listen is about coming clean. I think we were taught, especially from the baby boomers, that whole generation, that you stuff, you cover up, you don't speak really from the heart, and you definitely don't tell your truth. But coming clean means you say yes when you mean yes, and you say no thank you when you mean no thank you. And I think that that's a real challenge I've noticed not only for my generation, but for the generation of my kids. There's definitely the art of omission going on. I think that a lot of people want to appear one way, especially if we want to get into just social media. I think some of the greatest, they said that kids have less personal satisfaction and self-esteem now than they've ever had, because Facebook presents an image of what everybody wants you to see. It's your little movie, and you've put it up there, and it looks fabulous, but they don't really get to the clean talk, the real talk. How are you really? What is really going on? And I find that coming clean is one of the best techniques that I've ever used with the individuals that I coach for it's micro-truth. It's the micro-truth. It's a practice. It's taken me years to retrain myself and to be able to say, yes, I would love to join you, or no, thank you, I don't want to buy any more magazines from the magazine drive. I don't even read magazines. Everything's online. But there's such pressure in this culture to look good and to sound good and to show up when you're supposed to show up. Sometimes I would rather be home and just watch TV or go throw a ball with the dog in the yard than do some of the things that I'm supposed to do. And so I've had to really check in all the time with my core and say, do I really want to go to that party? Do I really want to show up to that school event that I have absolutely no interest in going to? So it's really hard to retrain. At least retrain my mind. It's taken me years.
Well, this is really a very important conversation. And, I know I'm really looking forward to, what you create, your work, because you're fired up. You're passionate. You're fired up. And, some of the time, you and I have very similar paths. We had to both look into the mirror at some point and say, am I, size 18? It just doesn't work for me. Or and do it in a way that's loving and caring for ourselves. Because I don't know about you, I've never really had much success making a major change in my life from a place of fear or even a place of anger with myself. I've had moments, as I think you have, where something fired you up and you got a little ticked off. Okay. So I've been ticked off. That's catapulted me to a next level. I remember getting ticked off at my advisor. And I got so annoyed at her that I challenged myself to do better. But that's not what I'm talking about. Tell me about in these last minutes, what is the formula you could share with folks, that would help them, as you say, change your life course now? What can we share in these last couple minutes here with folks to get them kick-started?
Well, one thing, and I just want to touch on a couple things that you said, Pat.
Sure.
First of all, anger actually is a very positive emotion. So there is nothing wrong with being frustrated, because I think it moves people forward. So, God bless a little frustration and anger. I think it's a really positive thing. And the second thing is that you can't create from a place of lack. And I think that is the one important element that I learned in my reinvention, is that I couldn't create from being depressed. I couldn't create from, oh, woe is me. I couldn't create from, this will never work. And so I had to find little tiny tricks that one thought that made me feel better. And sometimes it's a thought like, oh, I'm going to use my mind's eye, and when I pick up the phone and I say, oh, will you pick me up as an agent? That person's going to say, yeah, I'd love to. Can you come in next week? Instead of imagining, which I used to do, oh, they're going to tell me to go, jump in Lake Michigan and take off. And so I have to use my mind's eye in some cases, and some things that are really little tricks. If I have to do a task that I don't like or something that I'm kind of avoiding and procrastinating, I know it sounds crazy, but I find little music. There'll be a piece of music that will motivate me. I put on this one piece of music that's on my Live Your Everything under the inspiration category, and it's a you can do it, Chariots of Fire kind of music. And I sit down, and for some reason with this music playing, I can write that very difficult article or piece of work I have to do for a client that I just don't feel like doing, and it makes me walk away that da-da-da-da-da, it's the whole Rocky kind of story. And for some reason that music has changed my activity. And in some cases I even use things like scents and smells. If I get kind of down or tired or just dragging during the day, I like to have eucalyptus, and I just kind of sniff it. And for some reason, it just wakes up my senses. So I do all kinds of little tricks and find things that always move me that one step up towards feeling better. And that's what I would totally recommend for
that's great.
any listener. It just changes everything.
Oh, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. This has been awesome. I can't wait till you come back. Remember, you have an open invitation. I look forward to getting your next book. And please, thank you so much for helping so many people. Thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Pat. And I just absolutely love your show, and I love all of your messages. It's fabulous.
Well, I want to just tell everybody out there, make sure you check out the book, The Real Brass Ring, Change Your Life Course Now. Go to the website, liveyoureverything.com. And remember, this is your life. For those of you that have been listening to us for a long time, you've heard so many things over time. And we promise to bring you all of the tools, all of the folks, like my guest Dianne, everything that you can absolutely imagine so you can live an epic life. We'll see you next time on the show.
Thank you for joining us today for the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. The Dr. Pat Show can be heard live every Thursday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel and Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. on KKNW AM 1150. So join Dr. Pat live or listen 24/7 at www.thedrpatshow.com.